Now, okay, so this is the credit rating industry and what it has done. What did the credit rating industry concretely do wrong? Three aspects in my eyes. The first one, the industry itself. The industry, as I mentioned earlier, has wrong structure and wrong behavior. Number one, conflict of interest. When I am, dependent on you as an industry for my own rating, then of course there's already an imbalance in the relationship. So the industry has built, as a result, a very, very familiar relationship with the issuers of the financial, documents, entrants. Number two, oligopolistic behavior. There are only three players there, and almost nobody else is allowed in. So, they can do whatever they want. Number three, the three companies took over the role of regulation from the American government. They started creating their own rules. And the American government, Alan Greenspan especially, and the SEC were turning a blind eye to what the industry was doing. And number four, of course, opportunistic decision making. In many occasions, they just valued instruments, in a very inopportune way. What's far worse, and I was talking to one of the executives of the industry a few days ago, is that the industry did not understand the products that they were rating. The structured finance products are products that change in shape. It's almost like a jellyfish. Every time you try to catch it, changes shape. So the structured finance products are products that change shape every day. And the industry, the rating industry, credit ratings, doesn't understand the product. So the result is shortcuts, triple A's, given, at will, almost, because they don't understand what they are rating. And then the third place, the gullibility of the customer. Money is awash. There's plenty of money in every corner of the world. And some countries have more than others. So you have all these investors, either with capital as a result of savings, or earnings, export earnings, or pension funds. You have plenty of pension funds, especially in countries in Europe, Those guys have pockets full of money, so what are they going to do with the money? They go and invest them. So they are going to buy these bonds that the credit rating industry is evaluating. Now, some research was done, and the result of the research is that credit rating agencies were tuning the level of rating to the, I would say, gullibility of the customer. So easy customers, would be given a better rating, while uneasy customers would be given a realistic rating. So this is another game that they play. Now, what to expect? What's next? The damage is done. So there are two ways of doing it. Either you change the rules, or you allow new entrants to refresh the market and develop new methods. In the United States, they are busy with changing the rules. The United States Congress is worried about all what happened. Of course, the results are obvious. So there are several proposals now being presented, several proposals being presented in order to change the structure of the industry and the rules. One of them is to establish a review board to evaluate and compare the track record of each member of this nationally recognized statistical rating organization, which is the overseeing organ of the credit rating industry. So the government, the American government, wants to create a board that oversees those and judges, what they're doing. The other thing is that the results of this analysis will be disclosed to the public on a regular basis. And then also that the regulator should allow other rating firms the opportunity to earn the designation. So in other words, the regulation in the United States is based on control and open entry. So instead of that completely closed house structure of the industry, allow others to come in and allow them to perform. Now this is being discussed, in the Congress, and I mean, what I've been reading lately is still a long way before it's adopted as a policy by the American government. The EU is moving also in the same direction, but the EU is, in my eyes at least, much more comprehensive. They want to define the scope of credit rating agencies' work, what they are allowed to do. They want them to have a register. They want them to have supervisory organs to control them. They want to compare them to each other. They want to create conditions to withdraw the registration if they do something wrong. And they want to create an identifying framework for structured finance instruments, so that not every structured finance instrument dreamt by some investment house is brought in the market. They want to identify parameters for structured finance instruments. And finally, transparency and internal government. The EU is moving much faster towards this kind of regulation than the United States. So the expectation is that the EU regulations are going to appear, within a few months from now. And then at least in Europe, we have for the credit rating agency some measure of control. Because today they are running wild. But we have a new entrant, and I call them the angel from the East. We have a Chinese credit rating agency. The name is Dagong. Nobody heard about them before. But they came into public view when they published this credit rating, country credit rating and sovereign credit rating. They dared to downgrade the United States from a AAA to AA. And the only country that escaped their re-evaluation is Switzerland. They gave Switzerland AAA all the way. But look at the United Kingdom. Instead of AAA by all other credit rating agencies, they gave it AA minus. Look at Japan. They gave it AA plus, again better than the others. Look at Germany. They downgraded Germany. So for the first time, and then finally, of course, look at China. They upgraded China. They came with this, I think, in July last year, this year. And of course, this has created stare. Everyone's saying, who's Dagong? Or how can they dare to downgrade the United States? I read this and I made an appointment with the chairman of Dagong. So I went and met him in Beijing. And I told him, what are you doing? He said, nothing. It's just business as usual. I discussed with him the possibility of entry into the United States market. So in other words, he becomes a credit rating agency in the United States. He told me we have applied. And he sent me a copy of the application. And his application was rejected by the SEC. They wanted to operate in the United States as a credit rating agency, just like S&P, Standard & Poor's, or like Moody's. But it was rejected. They said, and here comes the argument, the convincing Chinese argument. They said, listen, we have invested almost $1 trillion in American Treasury, bills. So let's at least control, at least the worthiness of that. But whom are they going to control? The United States government, the issuer of the Treasury bills. If you go along these lines, then of course it becomes a very, very difficult discussion. So I sent him an email last week telling him, what are you going to do? Now that you have been rejected by the SEC. He answered me saying, we are reconsidering our strategy. And he invited me to lunch next time I'm in Beijing. I'll certainly go to the lunch because I want to know what he's going to do. Now, Dagong, if you want to know it, it's why it's a credit rating agency. They have about 500 specialists. They are housed in one of the skyscrapers in Beijing. And out of their 500 specialists, they have about, I think, 120 PhDs. So it's a massive machine. It's not just a fly-by-night operation.